Hello, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Coller along with Sam Ekstrom out on location at TCO Performance Center after watching another mini camp practice today. One that was relatively short, but we still have a lot to talk about, including Sam's appreciation for KJ Osborne. The Vikings' 5th round pick from last year has really shown out in OTAs and minicamp, Sam, and I think at very least he's setting himself up to be a part of the competition for, I don't know if wide receiver 3, but maybe wide receiver 4.
Yeah, somebody's got to find Chris Long, the Mr. Mankato odds maker, and find out if KJ Osborne is eligible, because I want to stake my bet on KJ Osborne. He didn't do anything as a wide receiver last year. He was not given a chance at all. And it kind of made people think, well, this guy must not be able to do it. Well, he's looked really good this camp, and he got a shout out from Mike Zimmer this morning to validate it when asked about the wide receiver 3 battle. I walk away every day saying KJ Osborne made a great play, and the same again today. He made a great contested catch in the end zone for a touchdown. I like that he has speed, and he's kind of got that quickness that you want out of your, someone in the slot, someone on a 3rd down and 4. He might be a little bit of a better, contested catch guy than Chad Beebe. Beebe can't really work the ball downfield. And from what I've seen from Osborne, he's at least pretty good kind of in that intermediate range. So I think he could be in the mix, and Mike Zimmer thinks so too.
It was interesting to hear him get the name drop because we had only considered him really a punt returner last year. That was not very successful, though it does seem like they're giving him another chance to return punts. So he's going to have an opportunity, it appears, when they go to camp to legitimately compete. But my takeaway from Mike Zimmer's full answer about wide receiver 3 was, yeah, nobody has really set themselves apart just yet. He name dropped a couple of guys, but I don't think he mentioned Amir Smith-Marset. And it sounded to me like, yeah, that one's very much up for grabs. In the backup quarterback battle, we did see more of Kellen Mond today, and I thought Kellen Mond performed pretty well in his few reps that he got. Had a couple of touchdowns in red zone drills. I think it says something that he's getting just a little bit more work, but we still saw Jake Browning and Nate Stanley taking the second team reps.
Yeah, it seems like Mond's best friends right now are the tight ends. He's a little bit check down heavy, which is okay. He's still getting kind of acclimated here, making the easy throws and trying to build some confidence. Did hit a couple guys in the end zone. I believe it was Shane Zylstra, maybe Zach Davidson for a couple red zone touchdowns. But yesterday, you were pumping Jake Browning on the Browning bandwagon with the 2s. Today, it was Nate Stanley. He made a handful of good throws as well. It was a decent day for the offense, I thought. And again, a short practice that ended in just over an hour. So we didn't get a long look at these guys in 11 on 11s, but it seems to me like they're giving Browning and Stanley a pretty even snap count here in minicamp.
As far as the offensive line goes, we have seen Blake Brandel mixing in at center along with Mason Cole, if you're wondering how those backup battles have gone. The first team was not any different than it has been, and it appears it's just going to stay that way even if they have a third practice. Whether they decide to cancel it or not, I don't know. Sometimes they do that, but that's where we're going to start training camp, it appears, with Christian Darrisaw trying to work his way in. But I thought a very interesting comment from Mike Zimmer when he was asked about Darrisaw. He said, hey, those other guys, Rashad Hill, Oli Udoh, they've been playing pretty well too. Sam, I kind of took that as a little bit of a message to Christian Darrisaw, like, hey, there's other players. This is not guaranteed for you, and so you better be ready to compete when it comes to training camp.
Yeah, and that groin pull set Darrisaw back here in spring workouts, so he wasn't able to get as many reps as he wanted to. They weren't able to get as long of a look, so it makes sense that he's kind of stuck with the 2s, rotating in and out with Oli Udoh right now. Wyatt Davis, of course, still stuck with the 2s as well, but the Vikings are taking this thing to training camp. That's where the rookies are going to have to win the jobs. It'll be interesting to see if they, wait until a preseason game occurs to get a look at them in a real game before they promote them, if they're going to promote them. And I guess Rashad Hill and Dakota Dozier can rest a little easier the next 6 weeks without the rookies breathing down the back of their neck.
Now, when it comes to the other battle we're going to be watching when it gets to training camp, the linebacker 3. Everything seems to be that kind of thing. Wide receiver 3, linebacker 3. And there's quite a few guys who are going to be battling for this position that was held down by Eric Wilson for a while. We didn't see Troy Dye out there today, but he has been out there in the past getting a lot of reps, but he's been mixing in with Nick Vigil and others. So what do we think of this battle? I mean, they draft Troy Dye last year. I think with an eye on him becoming the next Eric Wilson, it looks like he'll get the opportunity, but also if he doesn't perform well, it's not going to be him.
And he didn't perform well when he did get time last year. I think there's 4 guys who have legitimate opportunities to win that job. And like you said, you know, wide receiver 3, this team doesn't use many wide receiver 3 reps. Linebacker 3, they're in the nickel most of the time. And Mike Zimmer even said today that the number of snaps is vastly reduced. But this team has pivoted to looking for a coverage-centric linebacker in that spot. You know, in the early Mike Zimmer years, it was Jasper Brinkley and Ben Gideon, run stoppers. Since then, it pivoted to Eric Wilson, who was a coverage linebacker that really couldn't tackle very well. Troy Dye is kind of the same way. So is Chaz Surratt, who has been hurt and out during these spring practices. We haven't gotten to see him. Cameron Smith off heart surgery, definitely in the mix. Seen a little bit of Blake Lynch as well, and the veteran Nick Vigil has gotten quite a few reps. That veteran presence might be exactly what they're looking for.
Now, just in terms of the total picture, Sam, how have you felt about the vibe here? Because I think that, you know, last year we didn't get an opportunity to get the OTA and minicamp vibe, and we got to training camp, and it was just kind of a cluster the whole way through. But we had a lot of questions during training camp last year that they sort of, you know, said, oh, we'll be fine, and ultimately it didn't turn out that way. But I feel like there is a different feeling already with the amount of players that they've brought in, that there's much more confidence, and I think that Mike Zimmer's attitude in general, it seems like he's very excited to work with this rebuilt secondary. It just has had a kind of energetic feel to it. Maybe some of that's just being back on the practice field for this team when they didn't have this part of the offseason last year. But I feel like it has had a different vibe. And I also think, too, that everybody who was sort of anti-mini camp, anti-OTAs, maybe they're appreciating them now. That's kind of the way it's felt to me.
And they haven't been too hard on them. I mean, these practices have been relatively easy. They're not wearing helmets most of the time. The linemen aren't really, you know, smacking each other in the face. Like it's been sort of foot off the gas a little bit, but they are getting out here, running around, you know, getting some good, valuable reps, which are good mentally for these guys too. And I don't think we've even seen the full picture yet. Like, we haven't seen Sheldon Richardson in team drills. We haven't seen Daniil Hunter in team drills, or Bashad Breeland. So, like, this defense is only going to look more formidable. But when you kind of like tick the box, like, okay, this person goes down, you know, you've got Sheldon Richardson to back up. This person goes down, you've got Bashad Breeland to back up. And Zimmer mentioned it today as well. A lot more competition and depth, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I think we got to see a lot of guys, like including some that might kind of come out of nowhere, like Harrison Hand, look really good this camp. And DJ Wanham has kind of transformed his body a little bit. So there are some younger guys that have kind of caught my eye. And I think once the veterans kind of get back healthy and on the field, I think it's going to look like a pretty good unit.
All right, that's it for us. We'll see if we've got another minicamp practice tomorrow to report from or not. But make sure you follow the Purple Insider podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, just type in Purple Insider, and purpleinsider.substack.com is where you can find our written breakdowns of what has happened here at minicamp. So we'll catch you later.